We have a really exciting guest with us today. She has a company that I want to learn a lot more about. Maria Grimm, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Don.
Okay, Maria, as we ask all our guests first, tell us a little bit about yourself personally, then a little bit about your company, and finally a website.
Yeah. Well, my name's Maria Grimm, obviously, and I'm in marketing. Really specialize in focusing on marketing strategy. My team and I actually came together a couple of years ago and built a small business marketing subscription service. So small businesses, nonprofits, and startups who don't have large sums of cash to invest in their marketing can work with marketing coaches and success managers to help establish their brand and marketing strategies. And we also, have a lot of on-demand marketing courses, a lot of plug and play templates, anything that really helps them make their marketing a success, but without the big price tag. So that's what my company is. It's called Relly. We actually named the company after my last name's Grimm, and Grimm Fairy Tale Cinderella is one of the Grimm fairy tales. And like Jack and Gus, the mouse helped Cinderella get to the ball and transform her. We help small businesses and startups, nonprofits transform their marketing with the monthly subscription to the platform. So you can find the company online at it's meetrelly.com. It's MEET and then RELLY.com. And that Relly is short for what Jack and Gus called Cinderella in the movie. So that's where we got the name Relly, was from Cinderella. So
Mm. But you didn't say a word about yourself. Typically, for women executive, tell us a little bit about yourself personally.
yeah, well, I am an owner of two small businesses, a mother of one a very active toddler. My husband owns a small business. We live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Midwest. I've been in marketing since I was, gosh, I want to say in high school. My dream in high school was to be in marketing, and that's what I went to college for. Graduated from University of Oklahoma, and started my career. I've worked both on the client side and the agency side. So I feel like I've got a really good, deep understanding of what it takes to succeed from kind of a depth of knowledge and experiencing marketing from two different focal points. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you a question. What are some of the common things that you see when a person starts a business that they don't think that they should do, that you help them understand that they should be doing?
market research. I think a lot of people have really great ideas, but they don't really flesh the ideas out, especially with focus groups. I know for our company, with when we started Relay, so we have a consulting firm that we work with large corporations, but we also saw a really big need within the small businesses and not having the knowledge that they need to grow their brand. But the first thing was with Relay, we spent a year in research, which a lot of people want to get up and running pretty quickly now with their businesses, but they don't really focus on their ideal customer, the pain points of the customer. If you're when you're creating a product or a service, you're solving a problem, you need to understand that problem, and you need to understand the audience that is experiencing that problem. So when you're building out your brand and marketing strategy, you really can connect with those individuals and communicate with them. You can articulate how your brand is different, but then you're also marrying your brand message to the need that they're trying to solve. So I think that that's kind of one area where a lot of people they focus on creating the product and or creating the service and getting it out there, but no, a lot of people miss the part where they really need to focus on their brand voice, and what is that brand strategy going to be, really focusing on the ideal customer, to really fine tune your messaging, because your messaging needs to speak to them. And then focusing on your marketing strategy third, which everything you're doing needs to support a business goal. And that's what your marketing strategy is. You really look at what are your top 1 to 3 business goals that are measurable, that you want to achieve in 1, 2, 3, 5 years down the road. So then that way you can build a tactical plan that supports that. You see a lot of people throwing content out there for content's sake, but if that content is not supporting an ultimate business goal, which is your strategy, then it's kind of like throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks.
Okay, Maria, I'm going to say something. Slow down. This
Okay.
is we got a lot of time. Don't worry
Okay.
about it. Okay, because you're throwing a lot of information at us, but you're throwing it so fast that we can't process it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry to.
You're fine. No, I get it. I've been known as micro machine mouth, so yes, I need to slow down.
Well, in this world today, where messages are really 10 seconds or less, we have a tendency to speed up the world. But in video and in radio, we should be slowing down. But you mentioned something. Everybody talks about do market research, but what in your mind is market research? Do you go out and talk to your friends? Do you go out, do focus groups? Um, can you go a little deeper into that? Because no one else is, well, people have mentioned it, but they've never kind of said, well, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to do market research. Obviously, the easiest is focus groups. Think of the audience that you are trying to reach, and gather people from those industries, those jobs, that you know uh, audience set. So if you're going after millennials, look for millennials, and put a focus group. If you're going after C-suite individuals, think of C-suite individuals that you can reach out to that you already know, to develop a focus group. Ask them questions. Also, if you're already in business, your own client base is a great place to start for market research. Put together a list of questions that you want to know. Why did you start working with? What was it about us that you wanted to do business, with us? What are some of the pain points that you are related to XYZ, that we solve, that we could help with? That's kind of the immediate. You can also go and do surveys, online surveys. Social media is a great place to do that. They have built-in polls, in Facebook and LinkedIn, so that's a way to do research. You could also go into forums and groups, and social groups. So LinkedIn has groups, Facebook has groups. Go in there and poke your head around. If it's a group that's in small business, for example, small business marketing, we were in a bunch of small business Facebook groups and listening and jotting down the questions that people were asking, the help that they needed. We really wanted to understand what a small business owner, or small team at a small business was struggling with, so then that way we could develop products that supported their needs. So that's another way to do market research. Also, there are a lot of great tools out there that you guys can use to gather research. So if you're developing, you're wanting to understand, and these are free resources. There are paid versions of some of them, but they're free. If you're wanting to understand what are people searching for related to your product, or service, there's a great website out there called answerthepublic.com. And you can get 2 free searches a day, or there's a paid option, you get more, but you can type in a keyword. So say, it's insurance. You can type that in, and then it tells you everything related to insurance that people are searching for. So you can see the problems, because if you think about it, if you're going into Google or you're going to a search engine, and typing in something, you're typing in to find an answer. That is a pain point that somebody is trying to solve. How does your product or service solve that pain point? That's a great place. Also, Google Trends. It's a
Before you glossed over it, say it again. The site, it
um,
sounded.
answerthepublic.com.
Uh, say it. You broke up.
Answerthepublic.com.
Oh, I've
Um,
never heard of it before, so I'm very interested. Answer the public.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay, I'm
So
writing it
it's a
down.
great, it's, yeah. You get 2 free searches a day. If you want more than that, there's a paid pricing structure, tier structure that they have. But it's a great place to type in and find, if you're building a content strategy, that's a great place to go and look what people are searching for, so you can build out your content strategy. The next one is Google Trends. I believe it's trends.google.com. You could see traffic, website traffic on trends. So if you're building an ad strategy and it's around a certain product or service, you can narrow down into your niche and your location. And if you see spikes during certain times of website traffic related to these search topics, these keywords that you have, you could help develop your ad strategy around that. Okay, I'm seeing in April, January through April, there's obviously high ticks in tax. I mean, we obviously know that, but you will be able to see those graphics and those charts of search behavior when it's up and when it's down. So that's another great one. Google My Business reviews, looking at your competitors, looking at their reviews and what customers are saying. There's a lot of really great ways. Market research is no longer what it used to be back in the old, Mad Men ad agency days, where you're having to go to the library and check out books, or read magazines and all of this. You have the internet at your feet. There's endless opportunities to do research. You just have to make sure that you are doing your research in a way that supports what your goal is. So if your goal is to really understand your audience, and how they speak and how they communicate, then things like, having one-on-one phone calls with current customers or past customers, having conversations or putting focus groups around your audience of who you're trying to reach, looking at Google My Business reviews, going into Facebook, those groups or forums that are specific to that audience, and really kind of getting into their psyche. If you're, if you're trying to develop an ad strategy, then you want to go into the Google Trends, and looking at kind of traffic spikes in traffic, and or if you're wanting to build a content strategy, going to Answer the Public. There's all different types of ways to do market research. It really just depends on what you're doing research for, but everything starts with data. And I think market research is one of those areas that I think people skim over, because it's not as sexy as developing product development. But there's a reason why companies spend a lot of money on R&D. So you should, small businesses, I think, can learn from that. Is okay. There's the development part you're working on, but there's the research part you can't forget as well.
Wow, you really do know your stuff. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, now let's back up. Now, I'm a small business. I've just started out. Let's say it's widgets, my favorite, which no longer, it's 150 years since they manufactured widgets. I come to you, and what are some of the questions I should be asking you, and what are some of the questions you would ask me, so we could work together?
Well, I mean, with Relly, there's not really questions we ask because it's a subscription-based service. So it's like LegalZoom. You're going to LegalZoom to, buy a terms and condition for your website page, or a privacy policy, or to get your LLC filed. We aren't actually doing services in the traditional sense of how an advertising or marketing agency works with the client. Our platform is a marketing portal. So when you join, you're a member of Relly, you get access to all the on-demand marketing courses that can help you develop some of these things. Like I was talking about, we have courses on developing your brand voice. We have courses on how to connect with your ideal audience. We have courses on how to build out your strategy, how to build out your marketing plan. And then we have, other courses that are getting more granular and getting more vertically deep in some of those things. So social media, advertising, things like that. And then as far as support, we have what we call marketing success managers that you can, when you're in the portal, you can email your questions and you'll get a customized direct response. So rather than going to Google and typing in, how do I build a content marketing strategy? You are emailing a marketing success manager and you're saying, I want to build a content marketing strategy. Can you give me some, tips and advice? And that person helps you. We also have weekly live Q&A sessions where our members submit questions specific to, whether it's, their website, their brand, social media, email, whatever they have they're struggling with in regards to marketing. They will ask those questions, and it's our weekly live office hours, and we answer those questions live and provide support for that. So, if somebody's wanting to come work with us, there's not the traditional sense where they're asking us those questions. They're determining if they have a need for our subscription-based service that offers a plethora of different features as part of the program.
And what does it cost?
So we have two levels. We have our core level, which is $14.99 a month, and that is provided. You get access to the weekly live Q&A, so you can ask your questions and have participate in those weekly live Q&As. You get access to the on-demand marketing courses, like I mentioned. You also get a monthly marketing action plan. So we give monthly action plans on what you should do each and every day to help grow your business. We also have social social, what we call them social prompts, but it is plug and play content for each day of the week. So we say, hey, here's the idea, here's the social caption template. You need to plug in your stuff here to personalize it. And here's the creative direction. So you should have a photo like this, or we provide a graphic for you that you can customize. Which is free to be able to customize them. We don't have, a paid platform to where you have to be able to use those. So, and then you get access to our community, private community group. So.
Well, let me ask you this
and
question.
Then our second tier is.
Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
please. What your second tier is? How much?
Our second tier is $47 a month. And then that's the one where you get all of the stuff I mentioned before, but you also get access to the marketing success managers, where you can email your questions directly to a marketing specialist, and they'll give you customized response and support.
Sounds relatively cheap to have somebody to talk to. But let me ask you this question: do you help if someone like we just did? We just launched a YouTube channel, but our problem is how do we market it and then monetize it? Is that something that you help people with one of your videos, etc.?
For a course, are you talking about like a marketing course that tells you how to do that?
Yes.
We don't have a course specific for that. We haven't received, in our research, we didn't see a lot of that being asked, but we're always adding new courses. So our members, one of the things that we're a member first organization, and our members tell us what they want support in. We do monthly asks saying, hey, is there anything that we can develop to put in the platform for you? So if that was something that, we were receiving a lot of requests on, we would definitely create a course, a step-by-step course on that. And that's what our courses are. We call them playbooks. We call them not step-by-steps, but action by action. What do you need to do to achieve that? So if it was, here's how to set up a YouTube channel, and then here's how to monetize that YouTube channel, there would be a playbook on how to do that as a course, but we don't currently have that course in our platform.
Maria, your website again for our audience and how they can reach you?
Yes, meetrelly.com. It's meetrelly.com.
Hmm. Okay, now we have just a few minutes left. I'm just going to ask you, what would you like to leave our audience with from your point of view?
I think for us, our biggest thing that we try to leave audiences with is that to not forget about starting with your brand voice. A lot of people want to get into the tactical, shiny stuff, but again, you need to build on the foundations, and the foundations of your marketing are going to be your brand voice and your ideal customer. Once you focus on your brand voice and your ideal customer, your marketing strategy is going to come together quicker and a lot easier because you're going to have those core elements. And then when you're focusing on your marketing strategy, really pay attention to what are your business goals, because that is where you're going to be building your entire strategy and then ultimately your plan from. Those would be, don't dive straight into the sexy fun creating content. Think about why you're creating content, the who that content is serving, and what is that content, what do you want people to feel when they're done consuming your content, and what are the actionable items you want them to take.
Will you explain further the brand? I heard vision. What do you call it? Your brand?
Brand voice.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Could you go a little bit deeper into that?
Your brand voice is how it's your from your it's not just your logo, it's not just your fonts, your colors, it's how you speak. It's why you want people to feel when they're interacting with your brand. So if you say our brand voice is, we want to be fun, we want to be simple, we want to be energetic, inspiring. Those are things that you really need to focus on, and making sure your content speaks to that. Because if you want your brand to feel very patriotic, then you need to speak and have a brand voice that's very patriotic. That's what I mean when I'm talking about brand voice. Is that there are key elements that support that: your mission statement, your core values. If you were to pick a spokesperson to represent your brand, who would that person be, and why would you want that person? Are they fun, are they friendly because your brand's fun and friendly, are they very authoritative because your brand's authoritative? Just thinking about those things and building out your brand voice.
Well, for us, for instance, on ours is very informal. That's our brand. Uh, will be our brand voice. Am I right? Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes and no. I mean, there's an entire process to building out your brand voice. If you're, if you want parts of the tone of your brand voice to be informal, you need to, think about things that support that. When we're talking about brand voice, we're talking about, um, you know, uh, how, from your mission statement to your core values. What are your core values of your company? And so say for example there is an e-commerce brand that's coming out, and one of their core values is they care about the environment. How do they articulate that in any of their communication pieces? If your brand, you're saying your brand's informal, define that. What does that mean? What is your mission statement? What are your core values? How do you speak? We say this, we don't say this. If our brand was a spokesperson, this is why they'd be the spokesperson. And you kind of have that value proposition that you're creating. So that's what I'm talking about, like brand voice. It's a multitude of things. It's not just how you sound, it's how all of these elements support the when people think of your brand, they're like, oh, they are, it's an entire package. Your brand voice is your logo, your fonts, your colors, your value proposition, your mission statement, your core values. We say this, we don't say that. That's what I mean by brand voice.
Well, that's the first time I've heard it in that way, and it's very interesting. You've given me a lot to think about. So now, your website one more time.
Yes, it's meetrelly.com, and it's spelled MEETRELLY.com.
Well, on that note, we say, Marie Grimm, thank you so much for joining us. It was really a great time together. I learned something, and I hope our audience did as well.
Well, thank you, Don. I appreciate you having me. And absolutely, we always want to, give people some golden nuggets they can take with them and put them to use in their business.